I don't really see. Now's probably a good time to talk about Ash Handley. Actually,
Yeah, I've got
we,
him down to
we
him
need to
and
talk
Newman
about
are the
Ash.
two Leeds players. I think I was going to sort of talk about working really hard for Leeds.
Yeah.
Definitely, credit them for that.
If I was going to put a Leeds player in, I'd put Newman in terms of he just looked more dangerous. Handley is not a fullback. He will never be a fullback because he just doesn't seem to have the instinct. And I think it's really costing Leeds because they need that additional pivot. And Gale never has looked good behind a beaten pack, and Leeds' pack at the moment is poor, very poor. He's not alone. Most halves look bad behind a beaten pack, but Gale has never ever performed well behind a pack that's not going forward well.
Yeah, I think you look at him behind a beaten pack. When you look at other players, people like Hastings or Lomax or people like that, they'll start to, if their pack isn't creating space for them or taking them forward, they'll take the ball and take the game on themselves and take it forward. Whereas Gale still just looks to give the ball to someone else to take it forward.
Yeah, and it's he's just not working there for Ash. He's solid enough in terms of return meters, and you can see that in stats, but he's not. He doesn't offer enough going forward for the modern fullback. This is a question. What if you'd have been Leeds? Would you have been sniffing around Gaz O'Brien rather than who they did sign?
No, I wouldn't have, because when Myler wasn't injured, he was doing a decent enough job there. It's almost like Hanley is doing all the stuff well that Myler didn't do great. Positionally, Myler was a step behind. He didn't always catch everything, but in attack, there's that game. I think that Leeds' last game before their lockdown. I think Myler had a stormer, didn't he?
Yeah, he did,
and he set up loads of tries. Like three, I think he had 3 try assists in a game, or maybe in a space of 2 games he had 3 or 4 try assists, and so that looked okay. Jack Walker, they expect to be back soon, is my understanding. I do feel a bit sorry for Handley. You're right, because
I don't blame him.
Great, he works really hard.
Yeah, I don't blame him at all. But he's a winger.
He can finish things, but he can't create things, and you need a bit of that at fullback, especially when one of your halves is young, one of your hookers is new to the squad, your other hooker doesn't pass to anyone because that's not his game. Not criticising him for that, because he does really well in what he does. I think there's issues there with the leadership side of things for Leeds. Definitely, that lack of taking control on the last tackle was really problematic for them.
Yeah.
And because Wigan's forward pack were better in the game, because what Wigan's forward pack didn't do is they didn't make the errors that some of the Leeds forwards made. So even though I thought Oledzki keeps showing promise, but Wigan's goal line defence was good enough to stop his runs. They were good enough to stop Cuthbertson in the middle part. Obviously, Pryor had that amazing offload, but did he do anything else in the game?
No, because he's a waste of money. I do. I mean, I have made a note that I thought actually Wigan get good value for money from the likes of Bullock and Havard and stuff like that. These are kind of young players who are kind of coming through, or you expect them to contribute, but they're not necessarily your first choices players. Leeds at the moment, they're the players that they expect to be leading the line. Priors, CMNFNI when he's playing, players like that. They're just not getting the go forward. Cuthbertson's very, in and out.
But
and that's what's holding them back for me.
Leeds had to sign Thompson because of the injuries, because they've lost Mellor for most of the rest of the season. Ward probably isn't going to play again this year with his concussion issues. So, and there was another pack player they lost. I think I can't think of who it was now, but they needed something more in that position. But whereas you'd want them to go out and find a prop who's going to make a difference consistently, or go out and find, like you say, a fullback who's going to be the complete fullback and stuff. there's a big difference because Wigan in this game were missing Oliver Gildart, probably one of the best 3 centres in the competition.
Yes.
They were missing Thomas Luluai. Now I know Leeds were missing Robert Louis, but so there's a trade-off there, definitely. But that helps build into the comparison I'm going to make. They were missing Clubb and Flower, who are not great anymore, but 2 experienced henchmen, and they were missing Sean O'Loughlin, who, when fit, is still one of the best players in his position. Leeds were missing a few players too, but what Wigan brought in, they looked like they belong in that side. They don't miss a beat when they play different players, when they bring different players into that side, particularly in the forward pack. Whereas Leeds, when they bring younger players in, those players don't seem to play the same way that they would be playing if they were playing in the under-19s. It feels like Wigan's players. Wigan have built a system in place under Wayne and now under Lamb, where they promote a player into the first team, and that player is ready to play in the first team, no matter how young, how inexperienced. Just look how good Ethan Havard's been. Smithies was much better this week than last week as well, by the way. Smith fits in seamlessly in the halves, whereas McClelland looks a bit lost still. And I'd say they're both equally as talented, equally as likely to become great players in our competition, but one of them is playing, I feel like, for a coach or within a team or something, within an environment that helps him prosper, whereas the other isn't.
Yeah, it is really noticeable that, and you say it like the Pavard, you kind of notice it. There is definitely something. It's not, as you say, I don't think it's a talent problem, but there is something, you read the news stories and there's ex-Leeds Academy player doing this, doing that. They seem to struggle, as you say, going from the under-19s level to stepping up. And I don't know whether it's because of their relationship with Fev or whatever it is. There's something that stops these players going up to the next level. And I don't understand what that is, but Leeds need to understand what it is, because they're spending too much money on plodders like Matt Pryor.
Well, you would hope that they have someone that could come in and play second row in their setup, rather than having to bring Bodie and Thompson in. In reality, because Wigan wouldn't go out and make that side. Wigan 15 years ago did, and guess what? They weren't that good then. But Wigan now wouldn't go out and do that. They would play Joe Shorrocks, and Joe Shorrocks would do 20 minutes where he didn't do anything wrong. And you're just like, well, this is his second ever game or third ever game, and he plays like he's part of the first team.
Yeah, needs a haircut though.
But, that's true. But that is what you've got at Wigan at the moment. I don't know if we're talking about star players. Have I ever told you how much I love Liam Farrell?
No, Hastings, but please go on to talk about
Hastings was way more involved in this game as well than he had been for the last 2 or 3 Wigan games, and I think that was important. But that was him taking charge of the game, wasn't it? He had a few runs on tackle 3 and tackle 4 where he was like, well, we haven't made a lot of meters here, but if I run in that channel hard at that guy, I can do something. And actually, one of those runs led to Luke Gale being sin-binned, which is arguably the reason why the scoreline got pushed out to what it was. But I think Wigan were 3 scores better than Leeds in this game. Wigan's goal line defence was 3 scores better than Leeds' goal line defence. And Wigan's attack did more entertaining, enterprising stuff to deserve a 3-score win than Leeds' attack did. Leeds did one offload, one good offload. Everything else was pushed and hasty and risky. Whereas when Wigan did offloads, you thought it was controlled, it was assured. They knew that someone would be there. And that Bevan French try before the for the end of the first half was just absolutely brilliant from Wigan, and what you want to see as a rugby league fan,
Yeah, see, that's the thing. See, if you were being critical, you'd say that, well, Bevan French is a bit of a player signed, kind of mid-season kind of thing. But he's adding something, isn't he? He's dynamic, and he makes the team better, without question. So
yeah, he was signed for this year, and it was just there was an opportunity to bring him in earlier, and he was signed for this year with other people going. I guess.
True.
Davies went, didn't he? And Sargentson went.
Yeah, that player I keep forgetting about.
Williams went. But Manfredi, great hands in the build-up to the Manfredi try as well. Willie Isa, that is a 1 in a million play from Willie Isa that he picked that up and got the offload away. You know, what we see from Willie Isa more often is the one he dropped right at the start of the game. And we have to give credit to Pryor's offload, don't we, for Briscoe's try? But that and Wigan's final try both have asterisks next to them.
Yes. Yeah, you both scored a questionable try. Well, yeah, they're both, both should have been disallowed. but yeah, Robert Hicks was definitely, as has become his way, sometimes he's very keen to make a decision without reference to the video referee. We've seen it in Challenge Cup finals, and we saw it today. He definitely was keen to make decisions.
Yeah, when he's a video referee, he seems less keen to make decisions because he could have sent off Ben Masilla.
But yeah, there you go. But yeah, Wigan much better than Leeds, and Leeds have got a long way to go. They really have.
Stat line of the week, I've picked out Oliver Holmes, 51 tackles, 21 mark tackles, and it's that 21 mark tackles. Whenever someone does something on the stats that puts him in a top 5 of a category in the last 7 seasons, I'm gonna call it out.
Yeah, I can't really argue with that. I've Michael Lawrence honourable mention, but I've gone for Matt Whitley. Try assists, tackle busts. Max Whiteley.
Yeah.
Max Whiteley with the try assists, tackle busts, meters, clean breaks. Good player.
Who was your player of the week?
Best player I saw all weekend was Alex Walmsley, so he's my player of the week.
I've gone with Sam Tompkins. I think it's a real shame that he won't play next week for
no
his
surprise
perspective. And for everyone watching, because I thought he was fantastic. Really good to watch. And after all that time off as well, it had to sit and watch 2 more games than all his teammates had.
Yeah, he did make a bit much of that. I mean,
he was good.
He was
really
good. But yeah.
Highlight of the week.
Highlight?
Well, mine's Bevan French's first try. Great team play, swinging from one side of the pitch to the other. There was inventiveness without stupid risk taking. There was great support play too. I mean, if you watch that try back, Farrell's offload was to French, and on the right hand side of the pitch, right, and then French is supporting sort of on the left middle of the pitch, tracking behind the 2 kicks, the one from Marshall, which did have a slightly lucky edge to the bounce, don't get me wrong, but really good play by Bibby to get it put through as well. And Bevan French was supporting. I thought that was a fantastic Rugby League try. Had everything.
Yeah, I've gone slightly different. I've gone for the Farges try, just because it felt like it was the summation of the game, really. And it was fantastic interplay and, classic Saints break. So I've gone for Farge try.
Yeah. Yep. Standings. Wigan are top on 12 points. St Helens, Catalans and Warrington are all on 10 points to make up the top 4. Huddersfield, Leeds and Castleford are all chasing on 8 points. Hull FC have 6 points. Salford and Wakefield have 4, and Hull KR at the bottom have 2 points. Predictions. Well, our predictions were messed up last week, weren't they? So, but of the 2 games that existed that we predicted, me and Sarah both got them both right. So I think, credit to us for those ones. In the Super Route, I'm top, but Tim's wearing the yellow cap this week, so he's up to 2nd, overtaking you, Alan, and Sarah 4th. I don't know if you and Sarah forgot to change your, or didn't get. Sarah was away this weekend, so didn't get chance to change your picks.
I changed mine, but I sent it, so I went for a wakey win and stupid things like that. So that's what cost me.
All right, okay. In the overall Super Brew, Steve Pye stays at the top, and our friend Chris McEwen wears the yellow cap this week. Obviously, he was able to put a bit of focus into the rugby whilst the cricket was rained off all weekend, I think.
Something to do, innit?
In the Fantasy League, Alan Bagley stays top, extending his league with a league-topping weekly score of 754. I mean, it's the kind of begrudging respect that you have to give to, the Storm, isn't it?
You've got to admire the efficiency.
Yeah. Well done to Alan, rolling on there. Thanks to everyone for the fan views. Some absolute crackers this week.